Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? Professor Bob Hunkler from SC4 here today, and I want to talk about marginalization. And I wanted to point out to you, first thing, is that I've put together a website for not just this presentation, but the one that occurred at 9 o'clock this morning. Professor Scott Fernandez, and then also one at 1 o'clock right after this. You're welcome to stay for that one too. Alfonso Amos is going to be talking about diversity and racial issues. The URL is sc4geography.net, and this is not connected to the college website at all. You won't find it anywhere in there, so all lowercase. And then that marginalization link, I put that up near the top right now, so all of the pages are on there. So if I click on that, sorry, I will be making a few trips through here. Sorry. Click on that, brings you to here, and as you can see, the three presentations today, and mine is right here. Okay, so we're going to talk about a few things. Really, oh gosh, I do walk back and forth a little bit, so I apologize for that. You're welcome to steal a chair from there, or sit on the floor, or just stand, anything you want. Okay. Xenophobia is a term that's in the news a lot today. I think everybody should be familiar with this term. For sure, you know, if you read the newspaper at all, you'll come across this term a lot. Xenophobia, if we just click on this, is basically, based on the definition here, the fear and hatred of strangers or foreigners or of anything that is strange or foreign. Yeah, there's no more chairs, so you can sit on the floor or stand or whatever. I know I'll be walking back and forth through today though, so. Now, xenophobia, all right, that is, again, fear of anything that is strange or anyone that is foreign or different, all right. Now, if we go back here, world population, we're going to look at this population clock here. Maybe you've seen this. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau. We're looking at that number on the right-hand side there. The digits just keep going up and up. World population is about 7.43 billion. And when I started that last sentence, we've already set a new world record. And again, and again, and again. We've never been here before. This is all very new in terms of the number of people in the world. So, wouldn't it make sense that we would be much more capable of surviving as a human race if we didn't have xenophobia? Now, certainly there are instances. I mean, if you're walking on a dark alleyway in you know, somewhere in New York City in the middle of the night, then yeah, you might want to be a little bit of afraid. There's certainly some survival instinct there. But in just daily interactions with this many people, if that's what we're going to do, certainly it seems that xenophobia could be a real detriment to our survival, our healthy survival as human beings. You're welcome to steal chairs out of the lobby if you want to. So, if you go back to 1950, the world population was less than 3 billion. Okay, we had 2.6 billion people in 1950. We're up to 7.43 now, and they're expecting by mid-century, which is really not that far away, 30-some years now, over 9 billion, probably 9.4 is what they're estimating, 9.4 billion people. So that clock, that number on the right there is just going to keep going up. And we really have to train ourselves to get along, because there's going to be more diversity, more foreign cultures that we come in contact with, foreign religions, languages, everything like that. To be afraid of that, it's hard to go on. To think, gee, I'm going to be afraid of everything that's different from me. That doesn't make me want to get out of bed in the morning. It's like, man, it's exciting. To me, it's like, yeah, let's check this out. Let's see. Because the truth is, all of us in here, and all of them, 7.43 billion people, have to do two things for sure. Sleep. We all need to sleep, right? And we hopefully have a good place for that, right? Whatever. Hopefully not in this room, all right? We also need to eat. Okay. And there again, hopefully everybody has that good opportunity to take care of that. Beyond those basic needs, though, we've all got different ways of doing things. Whether it's your religion, whether it's your accent, the way you do your hair, the way you live your life. It's all different, and that in our society, it's a free society. It's wonderful. You can go where you want. You can live how you want. You can be how you want. And hopefully nobody's hassling you about it. Right? Hopefully nobody's hassling you about how you do things. Maybe they're saying you got the wrong religion, or you got the wrong hairstyle, you got the wrong skin color. What's to say? Why? That is, getting back to xenophobia. All right. 100 years into the future, probably all of us here will not be around. Hey, Alfonso, welcome. You're welcome to steal a chair from the lobby, or come in, stand, sit on the floor, anything. We've got a full house here. 100 years from now, I mean, unless there's huge medical breakthroughs, probably all of us in this room won't be around anymore. 150 years, how about that? I mean, I know, I'm not trying to depress everybody, that's not the point here. But if you think about, all right, who's going to be around then, 150 years from now, and how did they learn about the world? How did they learn about the world? Well, probably from you and me. Now, I know I'm a professor, I get paid to teach people, but the truth is, we are all teachers. In everything you do, people are seeing it, people are looking, watching, and either criticizing or praising, or maybe neither, but we all are teachers, and you don't realize it, because that next generation is going to do things the way they've learned how to do it and see it. And I know, you think, gosh, 7.43 billion people, who am I? Big deal, I'm just a drop in the bucket. Yeah, that's a pretty good bucket to be in. In my opinion, I think getting up in the morning is fantastic. I hope that for everyone. I really do hope that for everyone, because the world depends on you individually, and the things you do and the things you say and what people are saying. Because like I said, down the line, people are going to be thinking about that as a whole. All right. Syracuse University. Let me go to the next link here. Oh, actually, I skipped a link here. NEA is the National Education Association. All right, now, again, I know not everyone here is interested in the teaching profession, but since we are talking about SC4 and what potentially the role of the college is in addressing issues, I just wanted to read a little bit about this code of ethics for teachers. After all, like I said, we are all teachers in a way. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but just some key points. The educator, believing in the worth and the dignity of each human being, recognizes the supreme importance of the pursuit of truth devotion to excellence and the nurture of the democratic principles. Even Thomas Jefferson knew this. Go back to the early Greeks when they came up with this whole concept of democracy, to have people involved in the running of the government. It was a wacko idea. It was just like, what? Commoners? They don't have any royalty in their blood? How are they supposed to lead? How are they supposed to rule? Yeah, people would actually just show up to a meeting like this, and whoever was there could vote on the laws and everything else. That was a true democracy, not just representative democracy. People actually showed up to vote on things. So education is vital to that, because if we don't know about stuff, how are you going to vote on it? Or how are you going to participate? And by the way, democracy is much more than just election day here in this country, because if you write a letter to the editor, that's part of democracy. If you speak up about something, that's democracy. You walk the sidewalk with a sign, that's democracy. You're being part of the process. You read the newspaper or online or whatever. You're reading the news, you're involved in the events, you're part of society, that's democracy. Essential to these goals is the protection of freedom to learn and to teach, and the guarantee of equal educational opportunity for all. The educator accepts the responsibility to adhere to the highest ethical standards. Okay, so again, I'm talking about everybody in here, really. I mean, I'm not just talking about professional teachers. Really, we all have that responsibility to adhere to the highest ethical standards. If the college, if I request to talk about marginalization or xenophobia here on campus, and I suggest that we have a symposium to discuss that, it seems to me that if the college is going to adhere to principles of the highest ethical standard, we should be wide open to talking about tough issues, because certainly there are some tough issues there. People have, sometimes they get angry, sometimes they get violent in talking about these issues, and certainly we've seen that at other institutions of higher education. All the more reason that SC4 certainly shouldn't just ignore this and just say, well, we don't want to upset anybody. The more I think about it, it's kind of like the county road commission. Let's say that the county road commissioner said, you know, we're not going to fix that road because the construction is just going to upset people. That's their job. That's what they do. And so I don't fully understand, okay, and I'm not going to try to portray what the college is thinking on this, but that's why I decided to open up the classroom today and discuss these issues, because I think that our community could benefit from that. And not just the college community, but the St. Clair County and the Blue Water area as a whole. So this is just a beginning. I'm really hoping to expand this and make it a much broader discussion, because I think it's very important. All right, the next link here. There's a book that was written a number of years ago called The Global Brain by Howard Bloom. And it's an interesting approach. Basically what they mean by the global brain is that if you take everything that we know as humans, every bit of science and sociology, psychology, take everything that humans know and put it all together, we call that the global brain. Now this book was actually talking more in terms of the internet and you know, the things that are out there on the internet. I'm not sure that's all good knowledge on the internet, but it is one method of perhaps you know, keeping the information, keeping the knowledge. So again, you know, if we're not around 150 years from now, hopefully people aren't just relying on the internet to learn what they need to learn. They're going to rely on the experiences, the communications that we've had with them. So that I just put that on there to to touch on that topic again. Syracuse University. This is their counseling center. Let me enlarge this a little bit here. They're obviously taking a proactive approach here on marginalization. And what they're saying is marginalization is the process of pushing a particular group or groups of people to the edge of society. And that's an interesting term there, but I think everyone kind of understands. To be honest, I include myself here. I think maybe everyone in this room has felt this at some point in time in their life, all right? Maybe not right now. And I don't mean necessarily racial stuff or religion or anything. It could just be, to be honest, as a faculty member here, I felt a little marginalized by the college itself when they said, no, we're not going to let you talk about that. Okay, I'm getting pushed to the edge. Don't talk about that stuff. But, my worries are not as great as some others, I'm sure. Not allowing them an active voice or an identity or a place in that society. Through both direct and indirect processes, marginalized groups may be relegated to a secondary position or made to feel as if they are less important than those who hold more power or privilege in society. So again, we could be talking about racial issues, ethnic, religious, whether it's skin color or anything else, gender, sexual orientation. That xenophobia really does ruin lives. It can ruin people's lives. Yeah, why would we not want to talk about that? If we're educating students here at the college, I want the students in my classroom to have every advantage to not have issues that are keeping them from studying, to keeping them from focusing in on what needs to be focused on. Now, the college president came out with a letter recently saying there have been no reported incidents of bullying or marginalization or racism of any kind here on campus. And I say, that's great. I'm happy for that. I wonder if that is really true, that there is no marginalization on campus. I mean, having it reported is one thing, but to say that there is none on campus is another. Okay, so I'm not asking for volunteers to talk about it here or anything like that. And the truth is, sometimes when it happens, it never gets discussed. It'll just be kept quiet, and no one will really ever know. Sometimes the people getting marginalized don't even realize it, that they're actually, that that's happening. So, I mean, you could talk about veterans. You could talk about people who are disabled. Again, sexual orientation, there's the LGBT community, religious, and so forth. Now, it has to be honest, too. If you're feeling marginalized, it is worth bringing it up. But if I chop off my right arm, and I say, okay, now I'm disabled, now I deserve special treatment because my right arm is gone. That's not, first of all, a little wacko, right? That's a little crazy. But that's also dishonest. I'm trying to get attention by chopping off my right arm and making myself some sort of a victim. And I think people are afraid of that too. They say, well, you're not really marginalized. You're not really having a hard time. And they try to play it down. So that's yourself, your own reflection. You have to think, what's going on here? What is happening? And so the process, all right, so marginally, and I'm not a psychologist here, I'm a sociologist, but that has to be an honest feeling. But if it's real, it's real. Okay? And I do think that hopefully, just by someone, right now it's me, but I know there's others here at the college too, to just say, yeah, it does exist. It's almost a relief for some people. It's like, okay, I'm not alone in this. This is a normal part sometimes of society. It certainly should be raised, and the issue should be raised. You know, I mean, if you're getting physically beaten up or something like that, it's definitely, I mean, we're way, or sexual abuse or anything like that, that's way out of the boundaries here. So, you know, certainly that is something that would need to be discussed, I would think. But if it's truly not happening on campus, which again, I have strong reservations about whether that's true or not. I'm glad that it hasn't been reported, so maybe, but you know, I have my reservations. But it certainly might be happening at the grocery store, on the bus, at the hockey rink, or wherever. Maybe even at home. Heaven forbid that you would be marginalized in your own home with your family, or whatever. If students are experiencing it, SC4 students are experiencing it, then it's an SC4 issue, because that takes away from the ability to learn, which is vital to our society, as I said before, to educate. We've got to be able to function as a society. Which raises a philosophical question, and I'm going to kind of just throw things back to you. I want to bounce this idea around. Education. Okay. College education. I know when you first get here, they give you the forms, and it's like, okay, you got to take this class, and this class, and this class, and you check off the boxes, and as you go through each semester, you're checking off the requirements and things like that. But is that education? Are you simply learning about the world, or is education supposed to be more of learning so that you can actually change something about society? Okay, so the question is education just supposed to be a reflection of society? This is what society is, and take it and leave it, take it and go. Or should it be integrated with society and say, here's something that's wrong in society, how can we change that? I guess I'm interested in your thoughts on that. I'm not looking for one or the other. Are we looking in a mirror? Is education just a mirror of society? Or is education supposed to be out there working in society? Anybody?
Both.
Both.
Because there are always going to be things that you can't change, but of course, your professors like you are giving us the information to change things that can still be dealt with. I mean, racism is always going to be alive and well, but through education, we can change the rate of people that are becoming racist.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything to that? There was some of you, I don't know, maybe many of you, if you've seen the movie Schindler's List, back in the 1993 movie, really hard to watch. All right, it's all about the Holocaust in Germany and so forth. Just awful stuff. But I do remember one particular scene where there was just a lot, they were panning away from this town, and there was just a lot of mayhem, and they were rounding people up. You know, the Nazis were coming in and they were rounding people up, mostly Jewish, you know, and they were just bringing them out in the street, and you know, awful things going on in the scene and everything. And meanwhile, there's this little girl running around. She had a red dress on, just sort of running around in between. Highly symbolic, you know, I think it was supposed to be like the devil running around in the town there, whatever. But the one thing that struck me about that scene, and I only saw the movie once, and I still remember that scene, was that the people who lived next door were just petrified. You know, they weren't getting hauled away. If there's their next door neighbor getting hauled out into the street, they got the armband on, and they're getting marched down the middle of the street. Meanwhile, I'm shutting my door, because I don't want them to think that I'm trying to stop them, stop the Nazis from doing that. And to be honest, as horrific as that whole scene was, and the shooting and things like that, that was more terrifying to me. To think about those people in the room next door, just huddled up, obviously fearing for their own lives, right? Huddled up and just saying, all right, thank goodness it's not me, I'm just the next door neighbor or my coworker or whatever getting hauled away there. That's like Twilight Zone nightmarish material. That's like, oh man. Can you imagine if a society ever got to that stage, and it did fairly recently, within the last 100 years, how does it get to that stage? Well, it takes a lot of people not speaking up is what it takes for a long time. So when you see marginalization, you got to ask yourself the question, is somebody threatening my life to keep me from speaking up about that? If someone's getting treated poorly or getting treated unfairly, if I speak up, am I going to die because of that? A lot of times, I would say, in today's society, the answer is no. I don't think you are going to die. You might have a tough day, or maybe a tough week because you spoke up about it. But how much good is going to come from that? Right? If marginalization is going on, we absolutely cannot just pretend it's not happening. Cannot just say, yeah, that's the way life is, and I'm not going to say a word about it. Because nobody's got a gun to your head to threaten you, to take anything away from you. I mean, I think we're civil enough, even today in 2017, to speak up when those events occur. Yeah, in no way am I saying that this is Nazi Germany today, right? We're not even close, we're not even close. I'm trying to prevent that, because like I said, how did they get there? Well, over a long process of people just staying quiet out of fear, but they, that is how they got there. Over and over and over again, people just stayed quiet and said, all right, that's the way it is. Can't have that. Absolutely cannot have that. And like I said, it's terrifying that we're even this close to it these days. Like, too close, let's get back, let's go back. This is not what we want. I think whether you're at a community college in Port Huron or a community college in Austin, Texas, or California, or wherever, India, or any place on the globe, we got to say, yeah, we can't go that route again. We have to speak up. And so I would like to see more of this on campus. The college, I think, wants to provide what's needed in the community. As much as sometimes we think, well, this is just Port Huron, we're not going to really have an effect on the whole American society, right? It's a community college. We're just like any community college or any institution of higher education. We have that power. And if you think that your life is doesn't have meaning, you're wrong. Every one of us has tremendous meaning. The fact that you're alive, I mean, a number of years ago I lost my brother to leukemia. He was 38 years old. And once he was gone, I just thought, boy, he's not doing anything now. He doesn't have any effect on society now, but I do. I mean, that is really, if you're up in the morning, if you're breathing, you've got some effect. You are doing it. You're out there, right? So, yeah, don't be shy. We need you. We need to hear that. The fact that you're even here today, I think it says volumes. Any comments? Any questions? Not that I have answers, but.
What else can we do?
For society or for the college?
Oh,
I actually came up with an idea for artwork. The college likes theater. The college likes sculpture, painting, and as we've seen with you know, the play that was just on here, The American Idiot. I didn't have a chance to get over and see it, but I think that is not just anybody in the play? Yeah, all right.
I saw it.
Oh, you saw it. Okay. Yeah. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty good.
And was it a statement about anything in reality, or was it just total fiction?
It was kind of like a statement based on Green Day's different songs of
Okay.
basically don't conform, is what
Okay.
I got from that.
Okay.
My friends had a lot of fun putting that together.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody from the production?
I was supposed to, but then I dropped out.
Oh, okay. But I actually came up with an idea for some artwork in the college center over here. You know, the big atrium, the big room in the middle. I thought, wouldn't it be artwork / education? Wouldn't it be awesome if people coming into that atrium were surrounded with an international flavor, whether it be flags from different countries around the world, or informational placards to talk about religions from over in this part of the world, or different cultures, different customs. And so when you walk into the atrium, it just screams out, yeah, this is SC4, and whatever you are, wherever you come from, you're welcome here, right? And this morning, I was listening to Professor Fernandez giving his talk. He was talking about World War I, where the U.S. was fighting against the Germans, and it was part of the federal government's push. I mean, if you're gonna kill somebody, you should hate them, right? And they kind of went out of their way. They had an actual governmental office that said, here's what's bad about the Germans, and we're going to promote this, all these brochures going out and everything like that. Really vile stuff. I mean, just totally. So artwork in the college center. I talked to Celeste Skelnick over here, who is in the fine arts, and talked about possibilities for doing something like that. Of course, we'd have to get college approval for the artwork and things like that. Educational, it would have to be done in a very tactful way, but I think that would be, and it's not going to happen this semester, of course. We're talking about maybe a year from now before it actually even probably got off the ground. We'd have to get funding and things like that too, but I think it could be a nice display. And Celeste was saying to me, she said, well, you know, maybe we could get one of these traveling exhibitions to come to SC4, and we could pay to have them come and set up some educational exhibition. And I said, yeah, or we could create a traveling exhibition that could be on display not just at SC4, but other colleges as well, or other cities or wherever. But that's an idea that I've had. If you have any interest in that, let me know, and, or put a note in the suggestion box, something like that. But yeah, so anyway, any other ideas? Or I guess in answering your question, what can we do? There was one idea for the college. Now, for society, what can we do? And I guess I'm opening that up to anybody here. I mean, I got a lot of ideas. I do walk the sidewalk out here with these big signs. And I get people coming up to me with smiles on their faces just saying, thanks, you know, thanks for being out there. And it's just like, yeah, they're just happy that somebody is recognizing that there are some problems. I try to make my signs not confrontational. In fact, when people are driving by out there, I really avoid trying even to make contact with them. I'm not glaring at them as they go by or anything like that. You know, because that's confrontational, and that's not why I'm out there. I just want to raise the issue. There's some problems. But what else besides walking the sidewalk? Some people are just not cut out for that, and I understand. You know, that's a different life. Yeah.
Teach tolerance in classrooms.
Say it again?
Teach tolerance in classrooms for younger kids. So they get
Okay.
exposed to it early on, and then as they get older, they start developing good morals.
Okay, all right, so earlier on, the elementary years, do they do any of that right now?
Some do, some tend to wait till they're older. It depends on the school and their curriculum.
Okay. Yeah, always a great idea, really, even before school starts. So I mean, if you're gonna have kids, it starts right away. I mean, it's, you know, just in the things you say at the dinner table or anything, that they remember that. They will remember that their whole lives, so. Any other possibilities? Yeah.
More clubs and student-ran organizations.
There you go.
Like in high school, my senior year, I had the idea to create a group that got together and celebrated all of the different cultures and ethnicities that might be within the school. Even though I went to a predominantly white school, that doesn't mean that everyone's just Caucasian. You know, there are Jewish people, there are people who are predominantly French and Irish, and those cultures still need to be talked about. They still need to be rich, you know, because we'll get, you know, Spear Weeks and just celebrate St. Patty's Day, and like they're celebrating it, but you know, 2 out of 5 kids are even Irish, you know. So to bring more, what I want to say, to bring more attention to the cultures can, you know, expand our knowledge, especially on a college level, you know, because we know more, we have more ability to research, you know, like to even have a course about cultures would be good.
There you go, coursework. Set that up, yeah. Courses, here at SC4, we do have the ability to offer what they call 195 courses. So if you come up with an idea real quick, it doesn't have to go through the whole catalog and everything like that. It's just like, hey, we got an idea for a course, let's do it. It might not count for many of your requirements or things like that, but it is like, hey, this is something that is valuable and needs to be discussed. So, yeah, great idea. Clubs on campus too. There are student groups on campus right now, and of course you can think of new groups that don't exist yet too if you want to. And it is a little tough at SC4 because most students are here for a short time, 2 years or maybe 3 or whatever. On the whole, I know there's some here longer than that too, but that is. You know, you get in here in your first year and you're just kind of getting settled in, and then all of a sudden you're in your last year here, and it seems like there's hardly any time for doing a student club or anything like that. But I will tell you this, especially if you're just in your first year here, I learned at college that at first I was struggling along and not doing the extracurricular stuff, you know, and getting involved in things. And I was so busy with all of my classwork and everything, you know, everything that needed to be done. I thought, there's absolutely no way I can do something extra, you know, like singing in the choir, or doing a club or something like that. But then I finally decided, somebody talked me into it, and I did it. And because I was interested, I made time for it. And all of a sudden, all of my other coursework was very well structured and organized. Okay, now it's time to do this. Now it's time to do this. And what do you know? It actually became easier to get stuff done, and my grades went up. Even though I was spending extra time on this club, it was something that I never expected that. So something to consider if you are in that situation, if you're just starting off in college and you think, I don't have time for that. It's amazing. If you find something that interests you and really gets you excited to make time for it, everything else kind of structures itself and you make it happen. So it's amazing what we can do when we're interested and excited about something. We can go above and beyond. What groups are there here on campus that would even be slightly related? I mean, we got, wasn't there a progressives?
Yes.
Like student progressives
We have a
group.
global diversity.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
On campus that strictly talks about different cultures and work on projects for those cultures. I think that would be one of the ones I'm on. And then you have the other diversity group, which is the college's Global Diversity Advisory Council, which is also looking for student input. The students that sit on that council with the faculty and community members as well.
So the first one you mentioned is strictly
It is strictly
students.
students. And
Okay.
the other one is, again, community members, representatives from the local churches, business leaders. The NAACP is represented on that council. And then faculty here at the school. And we are looking for student members for that council as well. And I actually am one of the chairpersons of that group. Oh, if you're interested.
This is Alfonso, and he's going to be presenting at 1 o'clock here today, so yeah. All right. Any other issues that need to be discussed? 'Cause we'll have a good presentation at 1, and we'll have opportunities to discuss more, I'm sure, but any others?
I guess to kind of go off of like the educational question you brought up earlier,
Yeah.
I think you have to know both as well, because you have to learn about the mistakes that we learned in the past, like even like Dr. Fernandez and his instruction that he gave earlier, like that's part of the history, like you have to learn about it. And then it's up to the person to take the information that they learned from it and apply it to stuff in society today. Like it's just interpretations, different interpretations that you can take and to learn from everything that we did. And you need to learn about everything that's going on in society in order to get a better understanding and put it all together to get a better outcome.
Very good point. I learned so much from Professor Fernandez's presentation this morning, because it was almost like he was talking about today, but it was 100 years ago. And I think, wow, we don't change that much, do we? Humans are humans, and really, I said it before, 150 years from now, who's going to be here? And where did they learn stuff? If they learned anything from you. I mean, imagine if 150 years from now, somebody's life is better because of something you did and said or acted or whatever. Imagine if their life is better 150 years from now. You can rest easy. That's pretty darn cool. That's like, wow, he did have some effect here. If you ever watched, it's a Wonderful Life, George Bailey, right? The Christmas, he has that effect. And the angel comes along and shows him what the world would be like if he'd never existed. And a lot of bad things going on. He's like, okay, they did have some effect. So I think that's why it's such a great movie, because it touches every one of us. It's like, yeah, everyone has some effect. You don't have to be the most powerful businessman or businesswoman in the world to do that. You live your normal life. You're not that powerful. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you for coming, everybody. Appreciate it.